Welcome back to Perfect Chaos. I am Jenny Adi, and for this edition of Inspirational People, I have brought to you an amazing couple from Europe, Mercedes and Karsten. We're here to tell you a little bit about their story and what they do and why they chose El Salvador, and more than anything else, how they are dando su mejor para El Salvador. So, first of all, what's you guys' you're here now, and what are you doing here now in El Salvador?
You start.
Well, we came in July 2022, and we came because we are explorers. So we love traveling, of course, and we felt the energy. And this country has a lot of energy, and it's the smallest country in America, Latin America, and we heard the call, the international call. So we're here now.
Okay. And Karsten, what are you doing here right now?
Right now we are trying to create a home here for our son, and also to join with other people that share our vision of things,
Okay.
friendships, and make a life here.
Awesome.
In this country.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to when you guys met and where you were at before, and what were you feeling that kind of inspired you, or what troubled your soul, what you could say, that made you sit there and say, there's gotta be something different?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is. So I don't have to
great.
talk very much, so you guys can.
Well, we met in Norway. He's from Norway.
Uh-huh.
I'm from Spain. And in 2012, I moved to Norway. And we met random, because nothing is random. We met in 2015, right?
Uh-huh.
And we continue now.
Yeah, she was looking for a place to live, and I used to run a flat share, a very big apartment in the middle of central Oslo, in the capital of Norway. And so I used to run an international flat share where I would host people from all over the world.
Yeah,
And-
Italian, Russian.
And she
everywhere.
contacted me very late for an ad that I had posted. And actually I already had covered the room. It was already booked. But I was trying to help my neighbor in the same hallway as I lived, in the same floor. So I said to her, yeah, well, you can drop by. And then when she showed up, I took her to my neighbor's room, because he was always also renting a room.
Uh-huh.
And so that's basically how we met.
Oh, I'm surprised she didn't come in and you didn't say to your neighbor, you know what? Nope, I'll take this one. I'll find a place to keep this
No,
one.
but when he opened the door, my heart was bumping so hard. I was, oh God, like a drum, boom, boom. So I was thinking, oh, he's going to run away, and he ran away. In fact, that was a fact. But we.
That's awesome. So Norway, so you got together in Norway, and Norway was great, but what was the but?
Yeah, I think we noticed something going on over several years, which kind of left us a bit on the sidelines. We didn't really support all the new things going on, which have been dominating our world for several years, and both Europe and US, and the public conversation, the focus in the media and so on. And but we didn't make too much out of it for a long time, and then until 2020, when we realized that somebody was in a hurry to overturn the whole world, basically. And
Change society on a whole.
yeah, very fundamental change coming, very poor, weak reasoning, argumentation, and a lot of pressure, a lot of fear. and a sense that the contract I imagined being a part of in the country where I lived wasn't really being upheld. So we started to feel that that our rights were not guaranteed. We saw the same things going on in several countries in the world,
Yeah.
and which are all allies of Norway, NATO, and so on. It's a common theme, the same thing going
Yeah.
on, more or less, in many countries, and we felt we were no part of it.
Yeah.
We wanted no part of it. We didn't support it. We felt it was false, and it was a cover for other interests, other motives, which were not too hard to guess at.
Yeah.
And so basically we started researching, and the first place we came up with was Mexico, actually. We're not the only one. I know that others as well had a similar journey as we had.
Yeah.
So we knew about El Salvador from the start, but it was closed at the time we were leaving Norway.
Yeah.
So it wasn't an option because we never complied with any PCR, no vaccine, nothing. We never comply, and we never will. You know, we will. I'm ready to go and live on the ocean, to become a sailor
Yeah.
and
Seaman.
live of the sea before I comply with any of this nonsense. So that's the way it's going to be. But right now, El Salvador seems to be a place where you can be in peace, and where people aren't going to hunt you over this. So yeah, that was a very important reason for going, and also, of course, all this going on with Bitcoin. I mean, it's for me the biggest story here is that the old world is kind of power is getting very concentrated, and there's less and less freedom, and you have to abide by arbitrary rules to get your basic things done. And you also see it in the world of finance, that now the governments wants to program your money, and so going for Bitcoin is a very strong signal coming from this country, because it's a bit hard to be a dictator when you cannot control people's funds. It's getting a lot tougher, and we like that. We know economic history. We know how it all started. You know, when back in the days you could punish your banks, you could punish your government, you can go and retrieve your gold, and this is a mechanism of mutuality.
Yeah.
And we like that, and we need to have these safety mechanisms in the bottom to be sure that to be more secure that there will not be abuse. And when there is not, well, then you're pretty exposed to the whims and wills of other people, aren't you?
Yeah.
So for me, yeah, that was very important, and from my point of view.
So it's mainly the financial freedom and just seeing how much power, the power hungry, the power grabs and the power hungriness of everything.
Yeah, I like to. My point of entry is the world of finance, but this goes way beyond. It's general. It's something moral. It's something spiritual. It covers everything. And,
has many dimensions.
Many dimensions.
Yes.
Yeah. I like how you mentioned that it's not just a financial, but I mean the financial is just one end. Like as I've seen it, it's the age old tale of power, of people wanting to exert power over other people, and people not feeling power over themselves, and so then they sit there and they need to exert power, or not having any confidence in who they are, and so if they have power over others, it gives them more validation, whether that power comes through money or it comes through slavery or whatever. And it's true. It's kind of obvious that a lot of the world is becoming more and more enslaved in lots of different ways.
Yes.
In lots of different ways, just not. Now, but you have a job that makes you kind of an expert about all this.
Well, yeah, I am a financial reporter, so I write freelance, and I follow the world of economics and international relations a lot. It's my background, So I saw this coming for a long time. I knew there would be an end game. I just couldn't
Yeah.
imagine it would be like this.
I remember
Yeah.
in 2019, he told me, Mercedes, we are living a borrowed time. You know, like this
Yeah.
time is
Living
not
on borrowed
ours.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it,
and we felt something was about to happen, and yeah,
yeah,
it did.
Yeah. And it happened, well, it kind of became kind of like health slavery. And then that's kind of brought up the financial slavery.
yeah.
And
It follows the same playbook, more or less. Yeah.
And it's the fourth industrial revolution too, you know, and now it's the machine taking over human beings.
And the AI that's coming out
Yes.
and everything like
Yeah.
that.
And it feels like in our world there's no getting together. Let's everybody get together and figure this out. You know, how is this going to be solved? It's not how it's playing out. Feels more like it's being hijacked by a very few, and the rest are told that we are in some sort of crisis, and that's really the only argument I hear to justify compliance. I don't hear any other arguments that really convince me. I hear we are in a crisis, pandemic. Sounds very bad. And yeah, people are afraid to die, so many will comply. Makes sense. But
So how does El Salvador how do you see that El Salvador solves that problem
I think that
so many first world countries
yeah, I
have?
think that they have a late mover advantage. If you study history, you see that when the old powers reach their peak, it's you have this transition of power and dynamics to the peripheral parts, a bit outside of the old world of power. So this happened all the time. I mean, look at ancient Greece and how power moved from Athens and Sparta to Macedonia and Alexander the Great. It's always migrating. And
So
the
it's
old
moving.
world gets stuck in their old ways. They corrupt. Power is too much concentrated. All the ones outside of power turn apathetic. And you know, the dynamics move on to other places which are less stuck in the old world, and also this country is offering, in my view, another way of dealing with the new times. You know, with the digital times, with the age of the informational world, with the fact that they are not trying to control the currency, for example. I like that. That's a good signal. It's a kind of signal I'm looking for. It's not already the solution, I think, but it's the right kind of signal. And there's so few places who offer any alternative. It's so massive, this propagation of one idea that we are in crisis, we must obey, we must agree to all this change.
The fear mongering.
Exactly. We
All the
must
fear-mongering.
we must agree, and everybody's saying the same. It feels very scripted.
Be afraid, be afraid. Yes.
Yeah, very scripted, and for people who, like all of us, who travel the world, we know that humankind is not conform. I mean, if you have one place in the world, somebody thinking one thing, I can guarantee you will find somebody thinking the opposite in another
Yes.
part of the world.
Yeah.
If everybody is thinking the same, something is wrong.
Something is
Yeah.
wrong. You know, humans are not like that. So we can try to pretend for a while, but it's going to blow up. It's
Yeah.
going to blow up. This kind of manufactured conformity, manufactured consensus. It's not going to work. You know. So let's quit the fantasy. You know, let's start thinking for real. You know.
It's like God gave you a brain. Are you using it? Or are you giving that brain and your thinking to whatever is going in your ears and your eyes?
Yeah, but I feel it's not so much about intelligence. I mean, may play a role as well, but I think it's more about you know, having the guts to look for an alternative. Yeah, and things are uncertain. I mean, how is everything going to play out? We don't know, but we are here, and we really like what we're seeing. I mean, we really like we see the progress. We hear the people. You know, people don't lie to us. You know, we feel their hearts in their words here
Yeah.
in this country. So that's also something we appreciate a lot. We
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
And even the old culture from this place, you know, the Mayans, they were very brave people, and the opposite of fear is bravery. Yes, so we need to remember the essence. I feel that.
That sometimes we get so advanced in our thinking, or sometimes technology, or so much. I've seen this with being a life coach and being in personal development. I've seen some people, they try and get so ascended, you know, become so elevated that in the end they become completely disconnected. And the purpose of having a wonderful life is actually in its connections, not in you being so great and holy and, you know, awesome, but it's in your influence of how many people have you blessed? How are you going to have a net positive impact when you leave? And that kind of brings me to the last question, which is, the name of the series is Dar lo mejor para El Salvador. So in that, you know, the president is making lots of big changes, and he's kind of taking the lead and being that leadership, not like a lot of the other leaderships out there are all, you know, it's fighting nonstop, and it's just throwing blame and throwing insults at each other. And I'm like, that's not leadership. Leadership is somebody who leads. That means they show by example what they want the people to do. What is your consejo? And what is your idea of how are you guys going to dar su mejor for the future of El Salvador? What do you want to give, and how do you see El Salvador in the future for you, for your son?
I think the best we can give is our essence, our energy, and we came here with a lot of hope, and I feel like we are time travelers in a way, because coming here I feel like my best moment from my childhood, you know, when people just to talk to each other, the neighbors, they look at in your eyes and they smile. We lost that in Europe, not the whole Europe, but most of the people, they live in the virtual world and technologies, and it's very cold. And here you feel more the heart of the people. And I'm here to serve. Serving is the top of the top. So I'm any ideas? I'm here to serve. Yeah, to serve with my experience, traveling and meeting other cultures, and yeah, and living each day like a gift, like a present. Living the present right now. This is a gift for us. We have new friends.
Yeah.
From El Salvador.
Yeah.
Let's continue making friends and exchanging ideas and
spreading that friendship
instead of fear, you know.
Instead of fear and division.
Yes.
It's like
division and individuality. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and hoping with this place that we can unite with other people. You know, we came here to this country and we speak Spanish, no problem. But you know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to come here still. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, what this country has been through and the time they've had to get on their feet again. Not much time. So I mean, we notice this in many ways, and we think we can help people arriving here in several ways. I mean, maybe they want to come and stay, you know. Maybe they're looking for a friend. Maybe they're looking for an ally in a new place. And I'm hoping that we can be that.
Yeah, we can be
That's
that bridge.
awesome.
We can, yeah.
I want to be a bridge.
Of like, yeah, I've been where you're at, and let me help you cross the bridge.
Exactly.
And also, both with the people who are natives, but also the ones which are coming like us, which
from other cultures.
which understand us very well, you know, and also want to do things in a different way than how things are churning back home. You know,
Yeah.
we see that we don't believe in it. You know, we doesn't have any future.
Yeah. Home is in the heart.
So
Yeah.
we,
Home.
you know, prefer a small, you know, a handful of few good men and women, you know, rather than
Bunch of
millions and millions and millions of people who just want to cheer for the
team that's
the
winning.
status quo and the few and the powerful.
Mm-hmm.
We rather like to stick with the few.
Mm-hmm.
We think that's more aspiring.
Changes start with a few people always,
Yeah.
and in the small things.
And
smallest
also,
country.
we like the personal challenge because it's a leap of faith. You know, you have to believe in it that it
Faith and hope.
has some kind of value, or that it can lead to something, making a jump like this. And in the end, we do. So
Yeah.
it's great to put action behind the words.
You know, I've been thinking about. It's interesting that you say that, because as I've seen expats that have moved to other places around the world, I've noticed, and I've been doing this in some of my TikToks.
Yeah.
I'd say, like, I'm taking class 5 of how to be Salvadoran, because I've noticed if you take the culture from where you're at and you bring that with you, you're bringing a lot of the things that produce the things that you're running from with you. And as a life coach, I mean, I get that all the time with people that are like, oh, it's my husband, I just need a divorce. And I'm like, honey, if you don't fix this, it's going to move with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's going.
And like, you need to make sure you've resolved your own stuff before you think you're going to move away from any problem.
Blaming the outside.
Exactly. And so it's been interesting, because I've seen that, and I've heard some gringos and some extranjeros kind of complaining about, oh, why doesn't El Salvador have this or that? And it's like, well, because it's not that. We have our own, in El Salvador, they have their own blessings and their own challenges. And if you're running from the first world problems, don't bring first world attitudes
Exactly.
with you,
Yes.
or else
yes,
the first world problems will come too.
Uh-huh.
And so, so I've been thinking about that, about doing a series of classes called, you know, how to be Salvadoran, that will, for foreigners to be like, look, this is, you're going to learn to dance the cumbia, the Salvadoran. You're going to know all about Hermano Flores, and you're going to learn Salvadoran history, because that's what makes society strong, is what can unite them. And if I've learned any lesson from immigration issues to other countries, is that when you have a lot of people coming from the outside in, if you don't have something to unite, then the fabric of society there's no loyalty.
Yeah.
And the government's just not very legitimate when there's no loyalty, and nothing that holds us together. So, anyway.
Definitely.
So, thank you so much for sharing today.
Thank you.
And I am Jenny Ari. Travel more, live more, be more. If you are thinking about visiting El Salvador, or even living here, look up Living Like a Local, and they can help you with the whole process. Come, seeing what it's like to live here, and what it'd be like to move here. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hasta la vista.